Hey everybody, it's Lance Dawson and my amigo Andrew Stewart and I are back in the studio this week for another episode of Backstage Lowdown. We have Canadian country artist Bree Taylor in the studio with us. Bree is about to take the stage for Winona Peach Festival, and she can also be found at the CNE Country Stage August 24th. So if you're going to head down to the X this summer, which obviously spells the end of summer, sadly, you can catch Bree Taylor there at the country stage. We've got her in studio today. We're going to talk about songwriting. We're going to talk about Nashville. We're going to talk about her direction and her lovely voice and everything else. Bree Taylor. So I want you guys to stay tuned. This is going to be a lot of fun. But before I let you go and we head into studio, let me tell you, this episode is sponsored by Look Digital Marketing. For stunning websites to full service digital marketing, they help your business shine online. See the difference with Look Digital Marketing, and you can visit lookmarketing.ca today. Bree Taylor in studio with Andrew and I. Here we go. I think we should work out how to play her stuff in our episode.
Yeah, that'd be good. That's not
Oh,
gonna
here's
happen.
Bree Taylor right here. This is her new single, everybody, called Wake Up. Do I sound like Jeff Wood?
No,
I'm trying to, come on.
you are nowhere near Jeff
Damn
Wood.
it. You know, if this was 6 a.m., I could
You
I
you
could
might
do it.
you might be able to do it, but
I might be able to do it.
4 o'clock in the afternoon, you can't pull off a Jeff Wood voice.
Right?
Ah, Bree.
See that? Oh, hey, there she is.
Hi,
Hey, Bree, how you doing?
I'm good. How's everyone doing?
Good. Do you
Awesome.
recognize this song?
No, we can't hear it.
I
You
can't
can't
hear
hear
it.
that?
I can, good try. He was
Okay, we have to figure this out. We can't just talk
don't
to
don't
Bree
try don't
and
try to
then
do that just when our guest is coming
I
on
know, but
air.
I don't understand why we can't play a cut. Like I'm listening to Wake Up and like here she is. She's donating some time. We're talking about Bree Taylor. Here's a sample of her song.
Well,
How did
because
you guys not hear that?
because you're in your mid 50s and you don't
Oh,
understand
here we
technology.
go. Damn
You're a
it.
bit of a Luddite.
That's too
Okay,
funny.
here's two things. First of all, we haven't met Bree yet, and you've already outed me as somebody in my mid 50s. And secondly, don't use big words like Luddite.
I was
I don't
doing
even
a
know what that is. So you know what? It's all good. I don't know what Ludex
Oh,
is either.
it's the same as plebe. Like it's just it's somebody who's like so novice at something. Anyway, Bree, I'm Lance Dawson. That other gentleman there is Andrew Stewart. Thanks for spending time with us today.
No problem. Happy to chat. It already seems like some good vibes in here.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Andrew and I have lots of fun, and we're both into good music, which you are providing. So that's
Oh,
fantastic.
thanks. I'm
You've
glad
got
you
two
like it.
gigs coming up. I know you've been on a sort of a tour, and we're catching you sort of as you're sliding home, right? We've got two
Yeah.
left.
Yeah.
So
This weekend's our last couple of shows.
right, where is the Winona Peach Festival? I'm not familiar with that.
It's just outside Stony Creek.
Oh, okay. All right. So you're hitting that on the 23rd, and then you slide into the CNE in
Yeah.
Toronto. That's great. That's fantastic. Tell me how
Thanks.
long you've been doing this for.
I've been in country music since 2019. I've been performing and doing music since 2016 professionally.
Fantastic. That's excellent. And do you have representation? Like who's driving the train?
Me, myself, and I.
sweet.
That is 100% of what other than we were talking to Colin Kipp from Blue Rodeo, but otherwise, most Canadian musicians, we're all doing it ourselves, right? And but you
Yeah.
still kind of need a team. So
I mean, it's funny. I've been doing a lot of these interviews, and a lot of people like say that they assume I have a huge team behind me because of how I present myself with everything on socials and my website and all the things. And I'm always just like, no, it's just me. Obviously, I've done consulting over the years, and I've got people that I'll hire freelance as I go along. But the brains behind it all is just myself, and it's a lot of hats that I wear. But I think it's kind of great when you can be an artist and know all those different aspects of the industry, because I think it just makes it you have more appreciation for people when they come on board eventually and do join the team, right?
For sure.
agreed. Also, it makes your brand more authentic because no one's misrepresenting you. right?
Very true. Very true. And I've been through that in the past, so I definitely have learned that the hard way.
Right. I'm going to ask you an impossible question right off the hop,
Okay.
because I've noticed you're pretty prolific. You're a pretty prolific songwriter,
Oh, thanks.
and well, you're welcome. What is your favorite song that you've written?
I always say this, it's hard to choose your favorite songs, but I do always say Standing Still because it was such a magical song and the songwriting process, and we wrote and recorded it within 48 hours. And then just
Oof.
that feeling that I got when I finished writing it and we had that song in the bag. And even in the studio, I was just like, there's something magical about this song, and I can't wait to put this out in the world. And then when I did, it really started to steamroll some things for me and bring up some opportunities and some accolades and achievements that, obviously we work towards that aren't mandatory things that you need to have as an artist, but, that really do help and are really appreciative of when you have, awards or nominations or those kinds of things, because it does help. And it's great to know your hard work is, respected and appreciated and valued. But yeah, it's done some great things. And I kind of just like knew in my whole body that this song was a really special song.
That's interesting because it's great that you have that intuition, right? That you write a lot of songs and then this one somehow sets itself apart. It's also really interesting that the ones that you slave over and take so long to sand down to present, and you are proudest of the one that really got banged out in 48 hours, right? But just somehow it
Yeah.
spilled out.
I mean, that was the first time that I really started to trust myself and that like full body yes feeling. And that's not the first sorry, that was the first, but not the last song that I've done that with. Actually, I Regret You was the same thing. I wrote it on a Monday, recorded it, I think, on a Wednesday that week when I had studio time booked.
Yeah.
Wake Up was the same. Skip to the End was the same. So a lot of my songs that have been released recently have been that since Standing Still. And then obviously the couple songs I did before that were I did a lot of writing. Dauntless, I knew right off the bat when I wrote that song, it was very intentional. I'm just a very intentional songwriter, but just the fact that that song just Standing Still, when I wrote it, I was like, there's something about this song that needs to be recorded right now. And we're going to throw out the plan for the studio tomorrow and we're going to put this one in. Was just a feeling I can't describe. So I just call it like that full body yes, where your whole soul and heart and body knows like this is a song that needs to be out there in the world. And it's just trusting your gut instinct and intuition, I think.
Okay. Well, anybody who's listening, I want you to run to iTunes and Spotify and listen to Standing Still. Interestingly enough, I Regret You. I sing that all the time whenever I think of Andrew. I think of Andrew and I think, I
Lord.
regret you.
Yeah,
I so regret you.
that's
And you know
good to
why?
know.
Yeah, you know why I regret you? Because we should be able to play some of Bree's songs
Yeah,
when we're
but we
talking
can't.
about them.
We can't. Listen, Bree, why don't we do something a little bit more fun? Let's talk about for fans that are just starting to get to know you, that's just getting into your music. You're bringing them this kind of country slash rock sound that you have going on. It's like you take Shania and Joan Jett and put her in a put them in a shaker, and then out you come.
Thanks.
Um, what what's something about you that you think that fans might actually be shocked by?
Shocked by. I'm a pretty open book, so it's hard to really shock people these days. I just think that people probably just assume, I feel it's more the opposite, that people assume that I'm a little more intimidating and not as personable or approachable just based on more of that like rocker edge persona that I
Yeah.
give off with my music. And I always tell everyone I'm really friendly and bubbly and I love to chat with you and meet with you after a show or wherever. So I want people to come up and say hi. So I think my one thing is kind of like the opposite, is like people might like have a different preconceived notion about me. But if like, engage with me on social media, I love replying to comments and I love when people tag me on stuff. I love resharing things that people make, like fan art or anything that they're sharing and posting. Because I'm really grateful. Like I wouldn't be here without the fans and I wouldn't be here without people that love my music and listen to my music. So that's definitely something that I think is kind of maybe a little misunderstood.
All
Now
right, there you
you
go.
talk about the fan art. Is there any stories that have come out from your fans that have really just melted your heart?
Honestly, when I put I Regret You out and I started sharing my story about my narcissistic toxic relationship that I was leaving that inspired the song, I got a lot of personal messages from people, men and women, that were talking to me and sharing some of their stories that they'd been through in terms of different kinds of abuse. And
Mm,
that's why I really felt like that song was a really important song to write and release
yeah.
as well, because sharing my story has been, if it can be helpful to other people, is a huge feat in and of itself, I think, because that's what it means to be a songwriter, is when people are moved by your music or connect to your songs and can relate to it, or it can get them through something, which is what, like, that song is so cathartic for me when I sing it
Yeah.
and perform it. And if so people are listening to it and it can get them through something too, that's just like exactly why I do music. And it's what I loved about music when I was a kid and why I wanted to be a songwriter and an artist when I was really little. So that's a huge piece that, I really love to hear. So I love when people tell me their feedback about how they feel or connect to a song. So that was a really cool moment to start to get like people really responding to the song in that way.
That's
Sure.
the country music side of things, right? Because it's all about storytelling. And if you
Yeah.
tell a story well enough, then you're going to get people listening and people
Totally.
relating.
Yeah, and I think that that's the one reason why, like, I've had a journey to find my sound as an artist. And a lot of people I know, I'm really alternative for country. I always say I'm controversial for country because I'm not your typical country girl. And I stayed out of country music for a really long time because of that in my mind. I was like, I don't feel like I fit in this country music industry or this genre, because especially as women, it was such a box that they put women in. And it's been like that for a really long time. And growing up, when I was growing up, it was not even cool to like country. Now it's number three top streamed genre in the world, and it's growing in popularity. But like the fact that we're in an era where we can kind of cross blend some genres and people can be their authentic selves in music. Because for me, I've always been a storyteller, and that's what I always loved about country and drew me to country. But because I'm not like in all these other ways meeting all these criteria, I stayed out of the genre for such a long time and never felt like I fit in anywhere. And I finally just said with my single Dauntless, like obviously at the beginning of my country days, I kind of tried to fit that box
Yeah.
and do things like, I had a lot of men, especially in the industry, telling me what to do, how to dress, how to act and be, and what a country girl is supposed to be like. And when I just kind of said, screw that, I'm just going to be me, I put Dauntless out in early 2023. And that was the first kind of step into this direction of trusting myself and trusting me and embracing who I really am at my core and just going along my journey and making authentic music. And here we are. So I think that that's the greatest part about storytelling and about what we're the 2025 era of music, because we can just do whatever now. And it's great that there's people that will embrace it. And I brought so many people into the country music genre that didn't even like country because they were like, I don't like country music, but I like what you're doing. So, it's kind of cool that we can kind of cross boundaries and reach new audiences and bring more people into a genre that love it.
I never really buy it when someone says they don't like country music because I feel like, well, I just feel like to your earlier point, there's been so many iterations of country. There's 90s country, there's country and western, and for me, like, do you like the Eagles?
I love the Eagles.
Right, of course. So,
Yeah.
and people would say I don't like country music. Well, if you like the Eagles, it all came out of gospel and bluegrass and
Yeah.
those harmonies. And I distrust somebody that says there's not one Dolly Parton song I like. Like, really? I don't, you know,
Right. You can't, or it's something
yeah.
Dolly wrote too, right?
Well,
Because she's
right. A Dolly that
honest
wrote,
stuff.
yeah, same with Willie Nelson, right? You may not like
Mhm.
his voice, and fair enough, that's fine.
Yeah,
But you can't not like crazy. Like, you know what I mean? There's something like,
totally.
yeah. So let's go down the one road you went down there. So what's the criteria that you think that you felt like they were trying to jam you in a box? I can't do country because they're telling me I have to do this, this, and this. What's the criteria you think that they were saying?
Well, in my early days when I first started putting out original music, I was kind of at a point where I kind of wanted to do at that time country pop. And a producer in LA kind of sat me down and was like, "Well, like you're not really a country girl. Like, are you someone who, like drives a truck or like, is into like the mud and wearing sundresses and living on a farm and the outdoorsy? Like, is that who you are?" And I'm like, "No, like that's never really been me. Like, I have an appreciation for it and all that, but I'm very like people like kind of sometimes sometimes misunderstand, are you a country girl or are you a city girl? And I'm like, I'm kind of in the middle. I'm more of a suburb girl. I like being close enough to the city, but I hate living downtown, but I don't want to live so remote that I'm away from like all the hustle and bustle that I can get to. So I kind of like that middle ground. I'm kind of both. And I never felt like I fit one or the other. And he kind of pushed me and convinced me to go more in the pop direction. He was a pop producer, of course, so he wanted my business, I think, as well. But really, I think it was just he was like, unless you're already like Carrie Underwood or Shania Twain, you can't do country pop. And then lo and behold, years later, country pop's the next big thing. And it's been huge ever since. And obviously I didn't trust myself at the time and listened to someone else. And then just as when I did turn into country music, it was those early days of like, okay, I think I need to fit that mold of what a country girl is like supposed to be and what especially Canadian country was doing at the time. And I kept trying to just chase what other people were doing or telling me I need to do or what was happening instead of just being myself. And to be honest, like when I was a little kid, I always like the representation of the entertainment industry for me growing up as a millennial, at least, was very much like the blonde, tiny girl on stage that's dancing and doing her thing. And I never felt like that was a representation of me. I never saw that
Yeah,
really someone like myself out there. And I just kind of felt like I had to change who I was to fit other people's expectations. So that's why when I really finally sat down to write Dauntless, I was like, you know what? Screw it. I don't want to fit a mold. I'm not your one size fits all. I'm not going to be what other people expect me to be or want me to be. And not to say that there isn't amazing, talented girls that fit that category and that criteria,
for
but
sure.
I feel like there's a space for other people. And I think it's a conversation to open up because there's so many girls of different shapes, sizes, colors, like all of that out there in the world. And if they only see this blonde stick figure like I did growing up, you're going to feel some way about yourself in a negative way. And women have enough pressure on themselves to look and meet a beauty standard. Like the guys get up on stage and they wear dirty jeans and a ball cap and it's like so easy and effortless and they walk around and that's it. We put so much more effort into our live show and our appearance and wardrobe and all these things that we do to look good on stage or in a photo shoot or whatever we're doing. So I feel like girls have it 10 times harder and there's not as much appreciation or respect for that a lot of the time. So I really like to speak up on that to bring more awareness to it, but just like different types of women, because not everyone looks like one person. And there's got to be a lot of other girls growing up out there, like the next generation or all the younger generations that need to see something different or know that, you also can be represented and belong. And that's kind of when I started my rebel country movement because it was just like, I felt like I was coming into a genre where I was very different and controversial and not like fitting that mold, but I wanted to embrace it and create kind of a space for other people that felt that way to also feel like they belonged and they had a space that they could fit in. So I feel like that's what we've just been building on and it's been going really well. And I'm just happy that people love it and it feels like it's me. So that's all that matters, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a great statement, really. There's a lot of women out there that they don't meet the mold of, as you say, the blonde woman dancing around on stage, and
Yeah.
they're like everybody has a story, and they can share it, and whether it's just complete rock, whether it's country, somewhere in between,
Yeah.
or something completely different, you can do it.
Yeah. I think your point was well made, well taken. Like you're right. Seems to be a different standard for the men. There was a stage there with they had to be sort of, like Tim McGraw and Brad
Cowboy.
Paisley. Well, cowboy, correct, but fit, right, for whatever reason. And then it seemed that went out the window. And then you're right. So you could be a big dude like Luke Combs or Jelly Roll or
Right.
something like that, but the women still had to be tiny. I'm hoping that that's kind of changing. I think the bigger issue, though, with regard to your songwriting, I think the only thing I would agree with what the producer was getting at was, okay, write about what you know,
Hmm.
fair, so it's authentic. I just think that when we write songs and they're about emotions, suburbs, country, big city, I mean, everybody feels those emotions. I don't think you had to spend your formative years in cutoff jeans and a flannel shirt to be able to, do three chords in the truth. I
No,
think you
totally.
can, I think you can nail that without growing up on a tractor.
100%. And I think that's
Mhm.
what music's really come to be these days because people from all walks of life are in the country genre now. And that's what's really been more embraced and is continually more embraced. So I'm really hopeful that we're in a good direction moving forward in music. And I still, honestly, to this day, I'm getting a little bit of pushback about being like an alternative country artist, especially as a
Mhm.
female, because Canada's, I think, really just so behind on the times of what's going on. And I think that's why I've had a lot more success and my listenership is so large outside of Canada. Like the US is my number one streamed audience. And then I have Brazil is huge with country music right now, Australia, the UK. So I have all these listeners in other parts of the world that are loving what I'm doing with like the cross genre blending. But Canada's, when I see that, like, especially with my shows and stuff, it's like, we do have that great appeal, but it's not for everyone. And I'm not going to fit the mold and change myself for that. So if I'm not for you, then that's great. I just like, the opportunities that are meant for me will come my way. But I think Canada is really behind on getting on board with this new country rock type thing. And I think more people need to start embracing it and just let it have its own space to live. It's not like we're going to take away the 90s country. It's not like none of those other subgenres of what country music is going to dissipate. It's just, a new lane for people to excel and showcase some variety, I think.
I agree. Do you think that when you're so maybe walk me through this before I ask my question. So you write a song, you get together with a bunch of musicians or whatever, you record it. I know you've gone down to Nashville, you've done that whole thing. So now you have this recording of your song. How do you launch that song to get people to listen to it? Because is it just a matter of getting it onto iTunes and Spotify and hope it finds an audience? Because this is so we've got that clock to answer. The second part to my question is, um, do you feel like when you're taking this seriously, you spend a lot of time
Hmm.
writing these songs, you spend money recording them properly. I find, as I'm a songwriter as well, I find sometimes that the highway is so congested by everybody's a songwriter now. And they might not take it seriously. They just do it. And just because you can write a song and record it because technology is cheaper
Mhm.
doesn't mean that you should post it. And so sometimes if I'm looking for a Bree Taylor who's got something fresh to present, I can't get to the cream at the top because it's so congested by all this other
That's
crap
true.
that's out
Yeah, of
there.
course.
Do you feel like, so answer this. So how do you get your song to be listened to get it through the congested highway?
It's just been a lot of hustle, right? Like it's just to set yourself apart from those people that are just dropping music to drop music. Like it is, we're in a digital era where it's so easy and accessible online that you can drop a song. I could go record something in GarageBand tomorrow and drop it if I really wanted to, but
Yeah.
I personally started to hold myself to a higher like level of what I wanted to, like the quality that I wanted to, a different standard. I don't really look to myself in comparison of like anyone who can put music out. I'm looking at all the major artists that are doing things at that high level, and I'm working to achieve to that status. And it's almost like a not like a fake it till you make it, but just like in your mindset, like I'm not comparing myself to my peers even. I'm doing my own thing, and what I'm doing is mine. But when I'm putting my music out, I'm approaching my branding, I'm approaching my marketing, I'm approaching my whole approach of like my release plan for a
Mhm.
song in a way of like how Taylor Swift does a rollout. Like she's somebody to look up to, right? Like how she
Yeah.
dropped her album, how she puts her little Easter eggs out there. I've always been a huge fan of having a strong brand, and like what I started doing with each of my little releases was to create its own world and its own marketing plan and branding for each song on its own. Like I Regret You had different themed colors, more of a darker, angrier, angsty aesthetic, right? Like I have a whole thing that I do for each song that I put out that I feel might create more of, I don't know if it's like attention that people are interested in, like, or watching what I'm doing or what. I'm doing me, but I'm doing it in a way that I feel like is going to appeal and promote myself at the highest standard.
Sure.
And hopefully that works out. And then honestly, just marketing is big, like really knowing how to market to your audience, knowing who your target audience is. and then really just like networking with the right people in the industry that can get your music heard, like playlist curators and people like that. So, knowing the right people is huge. And that's just something that over time, as I've been in this industry, I've been able to kind of create those relationships organically on my own and just really foster those and value them and treat people, well. And hopefully they like me and they want to give me opportunities. And it's just taken me really a long time until this year to get even on Spotify playlists. So I was struggling with, just like the rest of everyone else, dropping music on the daily, that congested market. And I was putting good music out, good quality. I was paying thousands of dollars for production and I wasn't getting playlisted. And I was scratching my head, not knowing what was going to make a difference.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just who you know. Sometimes it's the luck of the draw. I don't really know what the answer is. I wish I had an answer to tell people, but it's just more recently that's even opened up for me.
Yeah. That's a lot of heavy stuff. Why don't we do something a little bit more fun? We're about halfway through the interview right now. We just introduced a new segment, Tour Bus Confessionals. It's your
All right.
opportunity to tell us a fun story from when you're on the road. Lance, before every gig, he disappears to go lawn and bowling.
Okay.
That's his thing. What's your story?
You see why I regret him now, Bree? I've never
He's
lawn
throwing you
bowled
under
in
the bus.
I've never lawn bowled in my life, but I plan to when I'm 80. I'm all over it.
I love lawn bowling. It's
You've
fun.
never lawn bowled.
I
Just tell the truth.
Well, I call it bocce. Um,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
A little
yeah,
bit different,
we played
It's
that when I was a
but
kid. My
bocce's
dad,
fun.
is it lawn bowling different? Is it not the
Yeah.
same?
No, I think
let
I
me
think
ask
it's
you this,
different.
Bree. Were you wearing a cardigan when you
Was there white
played bocce?
shorts? You got to wear white
No.
shorts
Yeah.
when you're lawn bowling.
Yeah.
Well, my
Oh
dad
yeah.
got a
And a
bocce
cardigan,
set and we
maybe.
just played in the backyard when I was
Yeah.
growing
I think it is a little bit different. But anyway,
up. Okay.
You're
All
talking
right.
about
Lance is
two
lawn
guys
bowling.
that grew up with lawn jarts, right? I mean, right,
Oh.
Andrew? Come on, that's what
with
men were
with
men.
metal
Yeah.
Okay.
points.
Fair enough.
All
I was
right.
trying to have your back. I was like supporting
No,
you. Lawn bowling
I
endured.
know.
no,
I know. It's
totally
sad.
different.
Nobody's lawn bowling before a gig. Let's just be honest.
Bree, what's
Yeah.
your tour bus confessional?
Like of what I do before a show
It
or
doesn't even need to be before the show, just something fun.
I mean, we haven't really got into a tour bus yet, which is like
Yeah.
obviously a great goal, but we've definitely had, close quarters in a car driving. The one would be like last summer, we drove out to Thunder Bay, Ontario, which is probably about a 16-hour drive or so. It was a very
Absolutely.
long time to be in a car with me and 5 boys. I took my band as well as a videographer. So we were crammed in a van. And obviously, I got to sit, I was either driving or up in the front seat. So I didn't have to sit in the back. But you get in those close quarters and you're with a bunch of boys, there's burps and smells and things that kind of, always surface. And I just,
Things
got
boys do.
really close to
Yeah.
my bandmates. I know my drummer's bowel movements probably better than anyone else at this point. I'll like if he disappears for a certain amount of time, I'm like, oh, he's pooping. So, that happens. And that's how touring is. But I love my boys and like they're great guys and they're like family, and that's kind of how it becomes. And it's when you get a good group of people together in a band setting that you all get along and you can laugh and hang out and joke and all that. It's always good vibes. So pretty much when I am picking members or auditioning new members, it's like you got to be a good hang as well to
Yeah.
be a
Yeah.
band. But yeah, we have a lot of fun, and there's always like our after a show, after rehearsal, we always like smoke a couple joints because weed is legal in Canada,
Right.
and that's something that we like to do. Not all partake, but it's a good time, and we just kind of have that like post joint session of like chatting and reminiscing about the show, what we'll critique each other, critique the overall vibe, and just kind of shoot the shit and enjoy it. And that's kind of some stuff that we do on tour or before, after a show.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, chemistry is really important. I've talked to other musicians about that sometimes you take a pass on the super talented musician because they just don't fit the team.
Sometimes that's true, right? Like there's some really talented players out there, and it's not to say that I don't like them or they're not great guys, but if the vibe's not there and it just doesn't work with the collective, then yeah, it's a certain, and like I hate to say it, but there is a certain like look in a way that you're looking for to join the band. Once I like at least where we're at now, like we've got this kind of like rocker metal, like a lot of my guys are metal rock guys. So like they got long hair or they've got a certain look to them that, kind of fits. So if like they're kind of completely off, it would just kind of not really fit in with the group. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
No, that's fair. I mean, it's all part and parcel of the the brand, right? So
Well, I think it
Yeah,
translates to the stage as well too. When you have a group
totally.
of people that are just so tight, that that energy comes out.
Yeah, definitely. That's why like the hang and the chemistry of the band overall is a big part of it because that definitely translates to your live show and the band chemistry on stage for sure.
right on, right on. Okay. So, and you know what? Don't be too quick to go for the bus. I was just talking to another guitar player last week that I think is it JJ Wild, Andrew. We were talking about getting her on the show, but
Yeah,
anyway, lots of musicians if they rent these buses, and honestly, they're breaking even on the tours. By the time they spend all the money on the bus and paying the band and the t-shirts and everything else, you think they're making a ton of money because they're playing big venues, and it just breaks the bank. You
Yeah,
know?
no, for sure. That's why I haven't really jumped into it. Everyone always asks me like why I don't live in Nashville. There's so many artists from Canada that have moved down there. It just doesn't make sense to do that on a financial level until it makes sense. So at this
Right.
point, I can travel down when I need to and do what I need to do. Same thing, like I rented a van. I don't own a van, so I had to rent a van that fit the boys and
yeah,
all our gear and everything, and we were crammed in there for sure. But versus yeah, getting a full tour bus just so everyone's comfy and happy. We were already losing on that gig anyways financially with just what I had to do to pay them and the gas and accommodations. Like I'm at an independent level that I'm not getting all those big, budget shows with
Right.
accommodations in a nice hotel
yeah,
room. So we've got to just I budget as much as I can. I do have my luxuries that I like to have. Like I want my own bedroom and then the guys can share a bed or sleep on the floor
sure.
or couch.
It's up to them.
Yeah.
Once that door closes, what happens on the other side?
You
It's
I'm,
not
a,
your
I'm the
say.
one
problem
girl in
anymore.
the band. I need my girl time. I need my space.
Sure,
I need like, like so there is some things that you do kind of prioritize on the way. But yeah, tour buses are not all they're cracked up to be. I mean, if you have like big budget and a big label paying for stuff, sure. If you're Taylor
sure.
Swift, awesome. I'm sure even at that level, she probably owns her tour buses because it makes more sense to buy one. I know a friend of mine, she's an independent artist. Her dad bought her a camper van type little van thing, and they've been renting it out as an also extra source of income for her when she's not touring. So
Oh,
it's like
great idea.
smart business, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, Bree, if you know this, but Andrew's quite an accomplished photographer. He takes lots of pictures of guitars and amps and musicians, and
Okay.
yeah, and so he comes out and hangs out with my band, and he needs his girl time too. Like it just,
Yeah,
I don't
so
know, it
a
happens.
little got to pretty myself up.
Well,
Okay.
This
yes,
doesn't
Okay.
yes,
happen, but
you do.
this doesn't happen on its own.
Yeah. I understand. I
Bree, tell
sympathize.
me about. I know we're going to get to the end of this interview. We're going to run out of time with you. You did CMA Fest, is that correct?
Yes.
Tell me about that because so you're a member of the CCMA, correct? The Canadian Country Music. Okay.
Yes.
And that's been really good for you. Yes, to be a member of that, or
I
has
mean,
that
it's
not been?
definitely opened up some networking opportunities, and I've attended the CCMAs. I have yet to be nominated and go into another, like, next level with that. It's a lot more
Right.
competitive because it's all of Canada.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been great. Like, they're definitely really supportive, and there's been some good opportunities for sure.
Okay, but then to be invited down to this CMA Fest, like I don't know you, but I'm just so impressed by you because that's huge. How was that? Was that like the best fun thing ever?
Yeah, honestly, it was a big dream come true. It was a real milestone moment, like one of those pinch me moments that you get in your music career because especially as a country artist, that's the biggest country music festival in the home in the heart of country music in Nashville, like right downtown. They like shut down several streets. It's like there was over 95,000 people that attended the whole weekend of I think it's like 4 or 5 days they have of music.
That's crazy.
And there's several stages. I mean, I was on the smaller stage, the spotlight stage, which is like an acoustic, but even the production value they put into that was incredible. I was so impressed.
Right.
The level of people that have to run something like that and organize every little detail and how well it was organized was very impressive to me. I think it's something that Canada needs to aspire to for sure. It's definitely something to look up to. But yeah, just to be asked was a huge honor and it was an incredible opportunity. And I think it was a real moment that let me realize like I'm on the right path and I'm doing the right things and just being myself in music and with my art has really, been it's been a journey. You have those moments as an artist where you're like, I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. Is this right or is this wrong? Do people like it? Do they hate it? You sometimes will get the negative feedback or the no's, and you wonder, is this all worth it? In the end, the sacrifices you make as an artist, especially as a woman. So it was a moment that was like, okay, I think you're doing something right because not every Canadian independent artist can say they've had that opportunity. So it
Yeah.
definitely was amazing.
Yeah, congratulations. That's
Thanks.
fantastic. I'm not sure if you've had an opportunity to listen to any of our episodes prior to this. However, I will let you know when we wrap things up. Andrew has this thing called the lightning round. And it is a
Okay.
series of questions. We're going to ask you 10 questions. You don't have to know the answer. It's just an unscientific way of getting to know Bree Taylor. So
All
I'll
right.
say, well, I usually use this example, shoes or boots. And you would
Okay.
say,
Boots.
there, that girl. That's what I figured you'd say. See, I do. I
My boot
know.
collection would be mad at me. I have a whole room of boots.
All right, exactly. Okay, so Andrew comes up with I had nothing to do with this week. Usually I contribute a few, but this is his baby this week, so I hope it goes well.
All right.
Here you go.
Bree, you're not going to
No
be
pressure,
judged.
Andrew.
I'll be judged. It's okay. Don't worry about it.
You're already judged.
Okay, so you were just on the acoustic stage. Now let's move in with our first rapid fire question: acoustic or electric?
A guitar?
Sure.
Oh, that's a tough one. I'm gonna say electric.
Stage or studio?
Stage.
Country roads or city lights?
Country roads.
Summer festivals or winter gigs?
Summer festivals.
Cowboy hat or leather jacket?
Leather jacket all the way.
Nice. Backstage hangout or after party?
Backstage hang.
Singing in the shower or singing in the car?
Both, but I'm gonna say in the car.
Hometown crowd or touring crowd?
Touring crowd.
Writing on your own or writing with others?
Writing with others.
And our last question, you have an oops on stage, mic cuts out, or a guitar string snaps. Which one is it?
Guitar string would usually be more likely.
It happens all too often. And
Yep.
that is another episode of Backstage Lowdown.
Awesome.
Great
Thanks
job,
so
Bree.
much.
Love that.